Here with the latest on the state of the primary is Politico congressional reporter Olivia Beavers. Olivia, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If we go back to the night of the midterm elections, Governor DeSantis was one of the very few bright spots. He seemed poised to make a real run at the nomination. What do you think has happened so far? I mean, I'm not writing any obituaries, but so far, what do you think has happened?
So, at least from the Republicans I've talked to, Trey, they thought that he was riding a high for a while. That's why you saw, pundits, reporters, they're all talking about this high optimism that he would be able to, rise up in the 2024 primary and at least give Donald Trump a run for his money. But we've seen him sort of stalling. He's blaming the media for that, even though some of his own people are saying effectively that they're far behind. So he's finding out that this is really a tough position to be. He's been able to cut off reporters back home. He's been able to sort of rule with an iron fist, and that's not how you get to operate in a presidential election.
All right, Olivia, you brought it up, so I'm going to play a clip, and then I'm going to ask you about it on the other side, okay?
Okay.
The media does not want me to be the nominee. I think that's very, very clear. Why? Because they know I'll beat Biden. But even more importantly, they know I will actually deliver. And oh, by the way, we just announced last week better fundraising than any non-incumbent has ever had. I'm looking forward to being able to participate in the debate. And you got to earn it, and you got to work. And it requires a lot of toil and tears and sweat. And we're going to do that.
You know, Olivia, you and I have known each other a long time. I'm always open to blaming the media for almost anything. But I mean, any candidate can blame the media. I mean, Tim Scott could do it. President Trump could do it. Joe Biden could do it. So what do you make of that explanation?
It seems like he was just trying to find a way to get out of answering that question and point the finger. I mean, if his own people are saying it, it's a much more difficult position. Steve Cortes was saying that they were behind. But, this has been a thing that we've seen actually in presidential elections, I think, ranging back to Newt Gingrich, where that sort of became a very powerful talking point. And him bringing it up is nothing new. It's just interesting that that's where he's pointing the finger.
You know, Olivia, I think part of it is bad luck. His chief opponent, the front runner, has been indicted twice. And most GOP candidates have felt the need to defend the former president in the face of those indictments, more so the state than the federal, but both. So it's hard to both attack and defend at the same time. I think that's the challenge that Governor DeSantis and others are having, is where is the opening?
I've heard so many Republicans talking about the strategies that they should have. Oh, attack him on his personality, attack him here. It seems like they haven't really found a sweet spot. The indictments, I was looking at polling, and I think they're from a week or two back, but 15% said this is only going to make them less likely to vote for Donald Trump. About 43 or 2 said that it would make them more likely, and then 42 or 43 said it wouldn't change how they were going to support him. And so if that's the case, if these are not making any movements, I think that kind of also explains why you saw people like Nikki Haley saying one day she's going after the Justice Department, saying that this isn't right, how they're pursuing justice. And then two or 3 days later, she's calling it reckless.
All right, Olivia, I'm going to ask you about another area of your expertise. There are things that have vexed the brightest minds for centuries. What's the origin of evil? Is infinity a number or concept? And how exactly does one go about getting excommunicated from the Freedom Caucus? So they kicked a member out this past week, I guess, at least according to reporting. And the explanation was that she has been critical of other Freedom Caucus members. Well, there are some Freedom Caucus members that's all they do is criticize other Republicans. So that can't possibly be why they kicked her out, is it?
Well, Trey, this is actually a story that I broke. There was a vote that happened on the Friday before they left, and I was told that there was basically a consensus that she should be removed. But there were several reasons. I believe, at least from the people that I talked to, that this vote was called because she was going after Lauren Boebert in quite a public way. But some of them were telling me this was a long time coming. They were already talking about removing her, and it's for 3 reasons. One, they did not like that she had become more aligned and allied with Speaker McCarthy. The other is some of her votes on policy, including the debt ceiling. And the third is criticism of other members, which they had started to see during the speakership vote. I don't think you're actually going to ever see the Freedom Caucus officially announce that she's out, because they never officially announce who their membership is. But it goes to show that they are okay striking out, but they don't like any sort of, at least public, eating of their own.
God forbid you support the actual Republican Speaker of the House. Boy, that's a death sentence. Olivia Beavers, thank you for joining us on a Sunday night. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.